What's up guys, Mcdoubles back again with a brand new video. In this video, I want to finally get to the Evoker Legendary Enchant on Project Ascension. Not only will this allow me to combine Arcane, Fire, and Frost Mage magic into one cohesive spec, but it will also allow me to keep playing my really decked out intellect-based character. So, hope you guys enjoy. Let's get into it. Alright guys, like I said, we're finally coming around to the Evoker Legendary Enchant. This is actually a pretty interesting one. Once again, it's going to combine Arcane, Frost, and Fire Mage magic into one cohesive playstyle. So this says, casting Arcane missiles while Missile Barrage is active increases the chance to proc your next Brain Freeze by 60%. Casting Fireball while Brain Freeze is active increases the chance to proc Missile Barrage by 60%. And then consuming either of these effects grants me a stack of Evoker, which decreases the cast time of Frostbolt by 3% and causes Frostbolt cast to increase the damage of your Fireball and Arcane missiles by 3% as well, and the critical strike chance by 3%, both stacking up to 5 times and lasting for 10 seconds. That's insane! So basically the way this plays is you spam Frostbolt, and then anytime you get a proc, you Fireball and you Arcane missiles. I mean, literally, it doesn't get easier than that. We just have to solve AoE, because we're going to be going into some Mythic Plus, and I want to see how this build does. As a result, I went for Power Infusion carded for attack speed, mostly, right? Arcane Power for damage, Wind Shear, because why not, and Blizzard for AoE potentially. Now, I've also gone Pyroblast, Presence of Mind, Curse of the Elements, Rain of Fire, Cone of Cold, and Focus Magic for my lucky cards. This is not a guarantee, but hopefully we pull at least 2 or 3 of these, or all of them if we're really lucky, especially something like Pyroblast, Presence of Mind, and stuff like that. Now, another thing I want to show you guys. There's actually a new random enchant that actually 100% synergizes with a build that would utilize multiple aspects of different mage trees, and that, my friends, is Elemental Anomaly. It says, when you cast Pyroblast with both Hot Streak and Fingers of Frost active, you trigger an Elemental Anomaly on your target, dealing massive Frost Fire damage to the target and scorching the ground as well, dealing more Frost Fire damage for 6 seconds. I like this. This is more AoE, and all I have to do is Pyroblast, which could be potentially pretty easy. We'll see if we can build this right and make it work. So first of all, guys, I'm going to go ahead and level to 10. I guess we'll get everything set up. Maybe we'll find a group to do a 15 to 70 with. I don't know. I do just want to get to max quick on this guy and really test the build out. So we'll see what happens, and I'll see you guys in a bit.
2 weeks later.
Okay, guys, it's actually been like 2 weeks since I was on this character. I'm pretty sure at least, and that's because the last time I remember playing on this guy was right before, or like a few days before, all the new epic enchants came out. Now, I won't say they've been underwhelming. I think in the tank department, they're quite good. I haven't put out the healing video yet, but I do think those are really, really good as well. The DPS ones, though, pretty underwhelming as far as I'm concerned. And because I really do want to put out a DPS spec, and I don't just want to put out another, mutilate spec that's poison-based that we all already know is good, because I already showed that it was good, and use the poison bomb yet. I'm going to go on Crispy Boy, just pick him up again. I left off at level 66. And we're just going to do Ring of Blood, get to 70, and see if we can make this Evoker build work. One of the things I like about being able to maybe make this build work is, number 1, it's pretty underrated, so yeah, that might be for a reason, and we'll find that out. But number 2, as we know from my Pure Shadow videos, this is my character that I've been doing plus 10s on. He actually has gear, and so yeah, we'll see if we can maybe make something work. It is spirit-based gear. That's obviously quite sad, but it's not impossible to play around that, and it's also not impossible to get better stuff that's more intellect-based for characters like this one. Okay, guys, we are 69 right now, and I'm going to basically wait for the rest of my team to get to 70 before I turn in my quest and make it all the way to max. Pretty confident that we rolled everything we need for this build. I've got the Frostbolt and the Arcane Missiles Fireball. I've got 2 weird ways to do AoE potentially as well if we need that, with Rain of Fire and Blizzard, and we have the Pyroblast for some shenanigans. Power Infusion, really nice, casting speed 20%, Arcane Power with the Troll Racial, Berserkering, which is obviously very, very strong. And I think that's really all I need, like I said, so at this point, it's reaching 70, theory crafting, and seeing if we can make something work. Okay, let's do some max level rerolls. Already starting strong with Icy Veins picked up. Let's get rid of the Hurricane as well. So now I've got Power Infusion and Icy Veins, which can't be used at the same time, but you can use them one after another, so you have a lot of haste during the entire boss fight. I'm really hoping that we do big DPS, I've been going for a lot of the less good specs out there recently, because I've played a lot of the good ones already, but I'm itching big time for something that actually plays good. I can take the pick Luck, I guess. And do I really need Summon Imp? I guess for now I should keep it and just get rid of the Eagle Eye. Ooh, Flame Strike could be good for AoE. Let's get rid of the Prayer of Healing, I guess. Counter Spell. I already have Wind Shear, though. Okay, so we're fine in that regard. Pass on that. Okay, maybe Safe Fall, and I can take it over the Earth Shock. At least I know if I fall from a great distance, I'll be okay. And honestly, with the way I've been playing recently, that could actually be something that's good for me. Okay, I just did 37 rerolls, and I don't even know if I need to use any of my marks on further rerolls. I even have the Prestige quest down that I could get 5k more marks on for this build. This guy's been played on a lot. 250 badges with literally no purpose, and I've spent them multiple times over at this point. What I want to go ahead and do is just like start enchanting everything and just see where the build lies with what I've got so far. So we've got Evoker right here. Elemental Anomaly as well. Let's go ahead and put that on. The two that we talked about so far. I also want to try Stay Frosty for this so far. It says, grant me an extra charge of Fingers of Frost, and in addition, every direct damage spell, regardless of the spell type, will give me 2% more chance to proc it. Fingers of Frost is very important for Elemental Anomaly, so we can get that extra proc with the Pyroblast going. So yeah, let's go ahead and just take that. I'm also spamming Frostbolt in general, so that can't be too bad. Lastly, I think I'm just going to try Power Overwhelming to start. Doing damage with Arcane Missiles reduces the cooldown of Arcane Power by 2 seconds. It's actually pretty good, and we do have that, obviously. Wow, this is actually pumping right off the bat. I'm actually super surprised I broke 5k in like the first 2 seconds of playing the spec. Look at all these procs. We're going to set it up with the new procs. You can see this character's from the old era before I did glowy effects on everything for weak Rs. Wow, I'm actually really impressed. We're in very inefficient gear. There's a pyro, by the way. This is definitely what I mean, though, by if you just have any gear at all and you start testing new builds, it changes everything, because with one 15 item level, I bet I would have done 2 or 3k DPS, but at least we're still doing 5k minimum right now, and I've got plenty of wiggle room to get better. By the way, with that wiggle room to get better in mind, I just did some more DPS testing on a dummy, and I broke 7.5k, and it was easy, like really easy. And the reason that changed so much is because I changed up my REs a bit. I was using more stuff. I actually had many talent points that weren't spent yet, and I will of course post my build in the Discord, but I will just flash it right now. I don't know how I had so much hit rating a second ago, but I don't know what I did wrong to remove it, but we're still hit capped. But I had to make some weird concessions, sadly. Typically I'd max out the improved fireball, but I've got a bunch of different talents. Burnout I didn't have before, and this has been really big. You rarely get to use this properly, but essentially, if you're using fire spells and then any other spell that's not fire-based, like in my case, Frost and Arcane spells, you'll actually make your target burst for extra damage. Turns out it's actually a lot of damage. You could see this was way over 7.5 at the time, but it tamed and went down as we left the dummy and the dots rolled off. But you can see the burnout effect procced 4 times for 3,600 damage. Now, this is going to come a lot because I really didn't do that much damage. 400k, that's not a lot. You probably want to do well over 1 million when you're getting an actual genuine representation of where you sit in the DPS department. Frostbolt's doing the most. 49 arcane missiles, though. That's a lot of damage as well. Only 9 fireballs, but we have the ignite going off for 20k damage, too. I really, really like this spec, guys. Let's go ahead and try to get ourselves into a mythic. I think I can already compete. Okay, just a quick update before we get into a mythic. I did another test run, and this time it was still around 5 to 6k, which was so weird. How did I randomly do 7.5, 7.3k consistent, and then now I'm back to 5? I don't get it, but I did just notice something. I didn't have any of my rank ups for my main spells. Dude, oh my god. Even better. I also just did some more rerolls. I got Mark the Wild, Arcane Intellect, Deep Freeze, and even the Magma Totem, so we have some new things we can toss into our arsenal. I'm thinking the AoE is going to be like Flame Strike, Magma Totem, Blizzard, and it's like weird, it's wonky, it's 3 spells, but it's better than nothing, right? But this is definitely more of a single target spec. Oh, and by the way, that's how much damage the Frostfire Elemental Anomaly thing does. It's 300, and it procs a decent amount. Super hard to proc it, though. Okay, guys, so I wanted to do a quick anything at this point. I said Mythic Plus or Mythic 0, but I just jumped into a Heroic Mag run, and I thought I could do it. You know, I think the DPS should be high enough. Item level alone, even if it's misstatted a bit, should be enough to carry me, and this is what happened. Okay, so we definitely need to figure out why our DPS is so low. I only did 7.7k. Of course, we do get knocked back on that fight, but so do some of these other guys, right? And a lot of these guys are casters as well. I'm not unhappy with 7.7k, but I did more for a hot second on a dummy. I just need to figure out what is allowing people, me specifically, to do 2,000 more DPS. Let's see if we can win these Soul Eaters hand reps. Nope, I got a 48 roll. There's no way. I didn't super need them, but I also kind of did, so it's okay. Pit Lord Satchel, don't need that. Magtheridon's head, maybe. Chest Guard, maybe. Crystal Heart Pulse Staff. Yeah, I'd go for that. I mean, it's good, but like, I don't need 33 mana per 5 seconds, you know what I mean? I'd rather have crit hit, anything like that. So we'll wait for a second and see if we can win one of these 2 items. Luckily, 7.7k to start when I've literally never played the build before and slapped it on a spirit-based spec. Not too bad. It's just not what I want. I'd actually rather do 9k minimum right now. This is heroic Magtheridon's lair, by the way, so it's not actually too bad for the content level as well. One thing I do want to show you guys, though, is that Elemental Anomaly procs was only 1% of my damage. I don't think that's worth it for an epic enchant. I think we're actually going to replace it. Even if you add the dot from it, it's barely 2%. It's not that great. Maybe it could get better, but I think that this is better for like a Storm Strike, Freezing Strike spec. So that's good, though, because since we're so interesting with this spec, using so many different types of magic, we open up quite a few different epic enchants to try as well. Yo, I rolled a 40 once again for the chest guard, dude. I knew whoever rolled first would win. Sometimes you just have a feeling. I tried to be fast. This guy beat me. He gets a 98. Yeah, you're thinking that's really superstitious and dumb, Mcdoubles. Hey, I was right, though. So is it really? Okay, confirmation bias is a thing. Maybe we could still get Magtheridon's head. Boom. Bro, a 27. I'm done. I'm done. Now, here's what I want to do. Now I want to do some mythics. I want to see what we can do in that regard. The build's doing really well. I'd like to see if we can get some better gear, because I will be playing less spirit-based specs eventually as well. But we have good spirit gear for when we play healers, and that's really nice to keep in mind. But spirit's holding us back. We have almost 500 with this spec. If I was geared properly, I'd probably have closer to like 800 plus intellect. And yeah, that would definitely make a big difference if we could also get some hit on top of that, so that I could go into some different talents. I did end up going 3 out of 3 in improved fireball, not 1 out of 3, and I just took away my empowered fire talent, which I guess is fine. This saved me some room, let me get the hit rating I needed, and yeah, let's just find a mythic now and see what we can do. Okay, so this time I think I did it. First of all, I did some really low M+. Why? Because it's been a really long time since I DPS'd. I've been taking like a 2 or 3 week break now to play Turtle WoW, play tank classes, and even healers a little bit before that, just doing different things. The only time I've played DPS recently was my caster build, my pure shadow build, and we did really, really well. Now, I think I've done it once again, guys, because with my evoker build, after I was done with the M+, you guys see, I did actually pick up some new gear. I am trying to prioritize hit rating and crit, so you can actually see I got these gloves of the Dead Watcher with a plus 15 hit enchant. That's going to replace my Grasp of the Dead, which is still pretty good, but even though it's 2 item levels higher, it's actually inferior in literally every way other than the enchant I put on it, and I went for the hit rating over the crit one this time. And I also tested a bunch of different ways to play this build, including not using Elemental Anomaly, but you know me, I want to stay to the theme if it actually can be viable, and I think I made it viable. Here's the thing, the little caveat that I've realized, it's that you only really, if you're using this, want to pyroblast when you have the Fingers of Frost up. Now, you might think that's obvious, but it's not really. You could also say to yourself, what if I, miss out on 2 more pyroblast procs? An instant cast spell that does probably about 1,000 less damage than my Frostbolt, when the Frostbolt has a 1.4 second cast while I'm using a haste buff, is probably still better than the Frostbolt, and especially when I'm going more into fire stuff, and I am. So, what I did, as you can see, after the dots roll off, 8.7k DPS on a dummy. Remember, I don't get the PvE bonus of 20% more damage, 24.75% when I'm attacking a dummy. Didn't know that until about a month and a half ago or something like that. If you look at my damage breakdown, Frostbolt and Fireball are basically the same thing. Then Arcane Missiles, but I dumped some talents for that now. Went for the Fireball now. I think that that's been a 100% win because I want to crit as often as possible. A lot of people go for more crit with builds like this. I've been just looking at what's actually out there, and mine have just been completely different from what I've seen. For example, some people use the little calculated demolition enchant, and I looked at this and I thought, yeah, that makes sense. I won't lie to you guys, it makes sense. And it's possible that for longer fights where you can actually stack that's probably pretty good. However, you can't use these enchants and use Elemental Anomaly because I need to double down on as much crit as I can, meaning I personally feel the need to hyper-focus on Fingers of Frost to the degree that is actually possible. And so in order to do that, I think Stay Frosty is incredibly important because it gives me more chances to proc the Elemental Anomaly and also just get more crits with everything in general. So theoretically, with this build, despite the low 20% or 24% crit, 23% with frost spells, it's really more like 75% crit and 73-ish% crit with fire and frost, and then you could just say it's about 70% crit with my arcane missile. 70% is a solid number. One thing I want to show you guys, elemental anomaly still sucked when I played around it, but the way I played around it put it up more than it was before. We were looking at a less than 1% on the actual base damage of the anomaly. Now we're getting a 1.4. That's not even including the dot. We're now over 2%. That's not as much as I want, because you can see Fireball is 5% of my damage for an epic RE slot. However, elemental anomaly will go up on multi-pulls, and so that's something to keep in mind. Okay, nice. First place on that boss, 7k DPS, and that's a boss with some pushback and stuff like that. And these guys are destroying me on the non-boss pulls, but this is definitely a single target fight. When it comes to AoE, I can show you guys on the screen right now. It's basically either Magma Totem, Flame Strike, Blizzard, and then Rain of Fire, because Blizzard will stack up Winter's Chill, and I'll have 5% more crit, and then I Rain of Fire, and it's more damage. Or I just single target the fight and hope I get Elemental Anomaly procs, but it's not that crazy anyway for AoE. But you can see my Fireball procs are just ridiculous. I actually really like that. Ooh, I don't want to be in that. Alright, let's go for that. Into the Fireball. I definitely think my Arcane side is the weakest thing I've got so far, but it doesn't make it not worth using. It's just my least exciting thing, right? The main thing is really the Fireballs with this spec, and let's see if we can proc right now an Elemental Anomaly. Oh, there it is. A little bit of lag right there for some reason. You can see it's ticking for like 339s. I feel like it should do at least double that damage, right? Maybe I'm missing something, but I feel like it should do at least double that. You can see I did Hot Streak there without having the proc. I feel like, unless it's a boss fight, it's probably just better to do that sometimes, because I've actually lost the proc a couple times. I think if you think you can hit it, like let's say you know you're going to be casting Frostbolt, then yeah, maybe you should be saving the proc for the Pyroblast. Otherwise, you might be screwing yourself, because I did a couple times. Okay, let's see. There's a Fireball. There you go. Fireball. Let's proc it. Let's actually proc it. Come on. Give me... I'm fishing. There it is. Nice. We have it on the floor now. Oh, here's one that proc naturally. Nice. 14k crits, by the way. We went back to the empowered Pyroblast and Fireball with this build. I had extra talents when I was playing around with things after changing some REs and stuff like that. And we're going to slowly get more hit rating. I was already able to open up 1 talent point by prioritizing hit on my gear with the new non-spirit gear that we've been going for. So we're already off to a really good start in that regard as well. I'm actually really liking this guy. I did not know if Evoker was going to be good. Basically, nobody plays it. And the ones that do don't play in a very thematic way, which is fine. I understand when you want to do the best, but they're not using Elemental Anomaly, so I really wanted to see if we could maybe make that work. And so far, I would actually say, even though it's not the craziest, we are making it work for how it can work, and I like that. I mean, freaking 9k DPS on a dummy is not a joke, guys. It's not a joke, you know? I can basically do any content I want to do right now at that point, and I'm very happy about that. I didn't even realize we're on a boss right now. I need to really think about this. I actually kind of want to reset, but the boss is already almost dead. The reason I want to reset recount is so that it actually only tells me how much damage we did to the boss and not all the random mobs. I really need to go back to details or something, but a patch broke it like 2 months ago for me, and me being me, I'm stubborn and just stay with the thing that actually consistently works, even though it's way less good and less efficient. So who knows how much we did on the boss itself, because there was so much AoE on that fight, but I'll say we did pretty good. So apparently it's a +2 Shattered Halls, by the way, if you didn't already look up there to check, and that's not particularly great because they have a really awful cash limit now. Yes, that means you can only get so much gear, which means you can't farm indefinitely like I used to, which was really nice because I used to pull these all-nighters and do like 7 M+ in one night, and it didn't matter if I helped somebody do their +1, but now the new system says never ever help anybody with a +1, try only to get into high keys that are other people's keys, because if you don't, you get less gear. That's my interpretation of it. Of course, I'm still not going to abide by that because I like to do the low-level keys and relax sometimes. It's more about fun sometimes, less about gear. Plus, I can still get gear upgrades right now. You can also see, by the way, that this build is so incredibly easy to play at a certain point that you can literally commentate the entire time you play. I'm playing with one hand, by the way, just my left hand. I mean, most of us here listening are really used to playing with one hand, so this should be second nature to you, if I'm completely honest with you. And I really think that it's worth trying out. I didn't know an older build like this, in terms of the legendary enchant being older, would actually end up being this strong, and more importantly, this fun. I like it more than Pure Shadow, and I can actually say that with confidence. Pure Shadow, which was otherwise my favorite spec in the game, caster spec specifically, is now not. It's now this one. And I say that with complete honesty, because I always tell you guys when the build is not fun. Alright, can we proc an Elemental Anomaly here? Yes, we can. Boom, boom. I like that. 18k burst into some little frosty stuff on the ground. I'm like consistent second place to this freaking Crush build, which is heavyweight, by the way. Which is normal, unfortunately. But, like, I'll take it. The one thing I can consistently do, regardless of the way I choose to play, is drop a Magma Totem, which I just did, but the tank just got destroyed. Holy crap. Can we actually kill these guys and not die? I think we can. Oh, no, we can't kill that many. Holy crap. All right, I'm just gonna feign. God, I have good spells. I just don't have invisibility, or maybe even the Demon Leap, if that's actually good. But I think that was more of a vanilla spell when it came to abusing game mechanics in dungeons and skipping content. Oh, he said nice feign. Was it really? I just pressed the button, bro. I wasn't thinking too hard about it. All right, this guy just said their girlfriend, the tank, DC due to a power outage, which I totally believe, and I'm being genuine about that. It happens. But it does mean we're pretty much screwed, you know? We still have 2 more bosses to go with no tank. Okay, yeah, this is sadly not going to happen. Wow, this is literally not happening forever. Luckily, it's just a +2. I'm not that upset. We got some good commentary and some good gameplay, but this is definitely being called. I'm going to see if I can get into something way better. Okay, guys, we're going to be doing a +5 Shadow Labyrinth, a slabs run. Let's see how we do on the bosses. I'm very, very curious. All right, let's go, guys. Okay, so on this fight, I got punished pretty hard for being a build that requires, you know, stacks to be kept up and stuff like that. There was a constant fear, and we only got 4.6. Everybody was obviously low on that fight, but obviously this build felt it. I would say Evoker is definitely a rating build, 100%, because as you're about to see, the AoE is not that amazing. I'm actually going to go, once again, for probably the best AoE that this spec can do with the Blizzard, going for the 5-stack, then going for the Rain of Fire, going to get more crits now. It does more damage, basically, in general, and things are basically dead at this point. And you can see it was like 7k. I can do more single target than I pumped AoE. So that's really important to keep in mind, because these other specs, some of them can actually still do AoE, and they can actually pump single target. But that's Ascension for you. Not everything is very well balanced. What I am curious, though, is if we can get to a boss where there's less CC, and I can just pump, do I come in first? I would like to see that. I'm really curious. Alright, guys, so the problem is I did way too much DPS to one of the mobs. I pulled aggro and I got destroyed. I also broke a lot of my gear, which is a big F. I haven't been dying that much, so... Okay, just got one shot by the boss. Everything's broke. Thank God I'm a caster and I can still play my class, though. Alright, guys, this is gonna be super scuffed. Okay, so this has been a super scuffed run. So many tiny random mistakes, and I didn't actually make them. I've just been, you know, kind of taking the brunt of it. I really wanted Murmur, even though he appears in so many videos, to be the one I single target DPS on. And I also just realized another reason why he appears in my videos. It's because he has no mechanics. So, I mean, he has the one, but like for the most part, you can see your real DPS on this boss, and I like that. Okay, but the real reason I pressed record at this moment was to show you guys that my team is just being toxic with each other, man. All they're doing is whining and like pointing fingers and pretending things that don't matter are a big deal. Okay, we wiped. Yes, people made mistakes. Who cares whose fault it is? Can we just kill the boss? Okay, so personally, I think this says a lot. With all my gear broken, I did 3k DPS, dude. I'll actually take that. Like, I'll actually take that. It's a +1. It's a scuffed group. Kind of happy to go. Let's see. Do we get anything good? Intellect, though. Oh, yikes. Ugh. Cosmic Life Band, 16 mana per 5? Okay, 52 spell power is actually pretty good. No intellect or anything, though, right? I don't know. I'll keep it, but I don't know. Alright guys, this is gonna be a slightly shorter video because if I'm honest with you, we met our goals, right? With 9k DPS on the dummy, that we did literally one of the best jobs you could do with this spec right now. I've got my spec in my Discord, feel free to copy it if you want, or to learn from it, or to make a better version of it and let me know. Let's go into the giveaway for this video, and a few looks at the final talent tree. Okay guys, got the link from the last Project Ascension video. Let's see who wins. This is gonna be for a Reborn supporters chest, just some free goodies and money. Okay, Jonathan Bowman, or Bauman. I'm curious if there's a cat poison build, but I love the content. Keep up the good work. Alabaster. There is a really good cat poison build. It's very hard to roll, though. I am considering making it. So, hey, that might actually happen. Alright, man. I think in the last video I said I was going to give away a Necromancer's chest, but I'm going to give you the Reborn one. It's better, so there you go. It's actually worth a lot more. There's your message, and GG, man. Once again, we're going to be doing another giveaway in this video. I'm going to be giving away a Necromancer supporter chest. If you want to win that, leave your in-game name in the comment section below, and like the video, and good luck to the rest of you. Alright guys, final thoughts on Evoker. Like I said, this is one of the most fun builds I've played, let me just say that. I really think that this is extremely fun in a real sense of, you know, you're not just having fun, but you're also pumping. That adds extra fun, you know it does. And the Evoker pumps. It pumps really hard. It's not particularly crazily complex either, I would say. The only thing it truly lacks, as far as I'm concerned, is AoE. Elemental Anomaly is a bit underpowered with this build from what I can see. It's not, I think, with some other builds though. That might make it a little bit dicey, but ultimately I would recommend this build. So far in this video, we were able to actually level this guy all the way to level 70. We did some BGs along the way, but we really got to max as quick as we could, and the first goal was, of course, to pull our DPS up. Remember our first DPS test on the dummy, we got about 5k DPS, and we had no clue what we were doing. With the same gear for the most part, maybe only 2 changes in the entire video, we were able to actually pull our DPS up on the dummy by 4,000, which is a pretty big jump just from learning how to play, testing out different talents, and testing out different REs. Of course, you saw that in the heroic Magtheridon's lair that we did, and I even showed you guys that there are some weaknesses, like Elemental Anomaly not really being that strong, and of course the AoE being a bit of a weak point, less dedicated for this build, and a lot of classes just seem to out-tier you, outclass you entirely. But other than that, if you're talking about single target raids and fun, this is a really awesome build, and it ended up being my favorite build as well for all the caster builds I've played in the entirety of Season 7. That's saying a lot. I've played a lot of stuff. Pure Shadow is intense, but this takes the cake. Here's what I got, by the way, guys. It's basically everything you already saw before, but I went a little bit harder in the Fire Mage stuff. Critical Mass, 6% more crit. Empowered Fire, like we talked about. Molten Fury, which I wanted to fit originally, and I just bit the bullet. 12% more damage if they're below 35% health with all of my spells. That's really big. And of course, we are doubling down with everything for that Arcane Anomaly. I went and I took things like in the Warlock tree, Death's Grasp, and I'm literally 0.07%, I think, right? 0.09% away from the hit cap. At that point, I just said, screw it, I'll get there. And 6% crit from Raise. And yeah, everything's in my Discord if you want to see it. Again, build is really fun. Would recommend you get Combustion if you play this, though. I did not roll that. Obviously, it's not required, but it would boost your DPS. And yeah, GG, guys. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like and a subscribe. But I'll see you guys in the next one. Mcdoubles out.